see a nice big group of people here today. We will start in just about 1 minute as we let everybody in. Thanks for joining us today. I think last time I asked who the furthest person away was from me. Now let's do the opposite. Who's the closest to me? I'm in Sonoma County, California.
I'm in San Joaquin.
Yeah, Gary's pretty close.
That's closer than me.
It's true, yeah.
Morning, April.
Good morning. Gary's got that Alfred Hitchcock profile going.
Side view, I like it.
I do.
So Tara, is it getting hot there yet? You're on mute.
I'll speak up for her. It's only supposed to be 85 in Phoenix today.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we got snow in the mountains yesterday.
Wow.
Nice.
We have a fire in our mountains right now though. So it was super windy over the weekend and we had a fire. So the snow definitely helped. But beautiful in Arizona right now. This is the time to be here.
Yeah, yeah. I do miss the winter time and 2 days of spring weather there, but I can golf every day of the year where I'm at, so that's good.
If you
All
try
right.
hard enough here, you can golf every day.
Yeah, yeah. Burn your hair off. All right, we are gonna go ahead and begin. Carrie's in Southern, where out in Southern Cal are you, Carrie Hinojos? How far south?
Los
Maybe?
Angeles, Rancho Cucamonga.
Rancho Cucamonga, nice. Excellent. Well, thank you all again for joining the meeting today. This is number 4 out of 5 in our educational series. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Criterions 15, which is Sustainable Procurement Policy or Program, and Sustainable Procurement Best Practices, and also Criterion 16, which is the Cooperative Procurement Strategy. So we're going to discuss both of those today. We've got representatives from the committee here to present and answer any questions. And also we have Chris Briano from SPLC, which is the Sustainable Procurement Leadership Council, to answer any questions that you may have on their maturity model, which we have based our Criterion 15 around. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate you joining us today. First thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to start off with a little quick video from our presenting sponsor today. Our presenting sponsor is NPP Gov, and they have, with their generous contribution, made these educational series free to everyone. So, Craig, if you could, tee up that quick video for us all.
Hello there, and welcome to the NPI AEP series, but more specifically, the session on Sustainable Procurement Policy and Cooperative Procurement Strategy. My name is Bill DeMars. I'm the Executive Director of NPP Gov, a national cooperative purchasing organization who has partnered with NPI to help bring you these educational and informative sessions. Over our 19-year history in cooperative purchasing, our contracts have focused on public safety, such as law enforcement, EMS, and the fire service, with some of the contract areas being data and voice networks with AT&T FirstNet, fire apparatus, new and pre-owned, medical equipment, patient monitors, and PPE equipment, to name but a few of our over 100 publicly solicited agreements. Our publicly awarded agreements allow your organization to purchase products and services by piggybacking off of our agreements, eliminating your need to conduct your own RFP or solicitation process, saving your municipality time and money. We look forward to speaking with each of you to help your procurement department secure national pricing for the products and services you use every day. Please enjoy this session. Now let me introduce Brian Gary, a previous recipient of the NPI Achievement and Excellence in Procurement Award. Now over to you, Brian.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Craig, for sharing that video. Thank you to NPP Gov and Nagometrics, our other sponsor, for again allowing us to bring you these educational series for free. So with that, I will start on Criterion 15, which we have Norma Hall, Christina Pryor, and Chris Briano to talk about Criterion 15. As a reminder, if you haven't attended one of these sessions before, it's meant to engage people. The reason we're not doing it as a webinar, we're doing it as a meeting, so you can ask questions. So if you want to throw your questions into the chat, you can do that, and you can do that at any time during the presentation or after, and we'll make sure to address those. So with that, thank you all. And Christina, Norma, and Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Brian. Good morning, everybody. My name's Christina Pryor. I'm with the City of Chandler out here in beautiful Arizona, where we're enjoying a lovely 85-degree day before we get up into the hundreds by the end of the week. Yay! So we're going to share with you some model submittals for criteria 15A and B. And we made some changes to this criteria last year, and the intent behind that really was to have to encourage our award recipients to pursue a more comprehensive sustainable procurement strategy beyond recycled product preferences and so on. So let me, Brian, can I share my screen?
If I believe you should be able to.
Ah, it's disabled. Wait.
I think for some reason, Craig may have been unable to make you a co-presenter.
Oh, and he is now making me a co-presenter. Fantastic. Okay.
There we go.
So, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time today. So I'm only going to share one model submittal for A and one model submittal for B. But I do encourage you, please, do look at the model submittals on the NPI website, because these, are just one way to meet the criteria. And there are several others that demonstrate other ways of meeting the criteria. So for criteria A, we ask folks to submit a copy of the formal sustainable procurement policy or program, a copy of the document, website, or policy that established it, and then evidence of executive level commitment. And so for this one, we're going to take a look at Howard County, Maryland, who provided us first with a link to where we can find the county code that addresses their sustainable procurement policy. So as you can see, they do have a preference for recycled materials, but it does go beyond just recycled materials in their their strategy, and it really speaks more towards the entire life cycle of the procurement and the product. And so they provided the example of their policy. And then they went further to provide an example of their annual report. So for us as evaluators, what we saw was policy that was in code. So that demonstrated clearly to us the executive level commitment. They provided that additional information by sharing their annual report and how they report out the results of their program and the impact of their program on their organization and on their community. So really excellent job of presenting the information really very clearly and succinctly, and in a way that was easy for us as evaluators to see that they clearly met the criteria. For criteria B, or Criterion 15B, this is a little bit more challenging, especially for us as evaluators, because as you can see, part of the requirement is for the submitted best practices to qualify, agencies must demonstrate implementation of at least 50% of the relevant requirements described in the SPLC's maturity model inventory checklist. So as we're evaluating, we're looking at that checklist, and we're comparing across, and we're looking for matches to 50% or more of those items in that checklist. So it's important as you're putting together your response to Criterion 15B to reference that checklist and demonstrate for us that your policy and program are meeting at least 15% of these best practices, 50% of the best practices, excuse me. Now I'm going to show you a model submittal for Arizona State University. And what they have done, Arizona State University, is matched item for item to the inventory checklist. So if you go back and you see, take a look at the headers in gray, and then below that, there are sub-items. They have demonstrated for us that their program meets at the high level goals and best practices. And then beneath that, they've actually demonstrated how their program meets each one of those sub-bullets. Now, we understand that not everybody's is going to, which is why we're looking at a match to the best practices in general, rather than to each individual item on the checklist. But you can see that in order to completely demonstrate, they also provided links to all of the documents, reports, guidelines, and so on, so that we could go out and look at those products. And again, all the way through, matching each one of the best practices. And again, with this submittal, very clear, very easy to follow, and very well documented. And I think I would like to pause here because I imagine our attendees today do have some questions for Chris with SPLC about the best practices and the maturity model. So
Thanks, Christina.
I will go ahead and release the screen and put myself on mute. And again, encourage everyone, please go out and look at the model submittals for 15A and B, because there are many ways to meet them, and some folks have done a great job doing it.
Great, thank you, Christina. We appreciate that. And we will just take a quick pause here and see if anybody has any questions for Christina, Norma, or Chris. If you do, again, you can type those in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself if you'd like to do it that way and ask the question. And I guess hearing none, we'll move on to Criterion 16. Again, remember, you can use the chat, ask any question you want related to these criteria or related to the AEP program itself. Again,
Hey, Brian.
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I do have a question. Chris, I was wondering, since we're utilizing the checklist to meet the criterion and the potential, well, the complexity of the checklist and answering the questions, and I don't want to imply anything, but is it possible to perhaps number the checklist, like the first goal being A and then sub under A being 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. We can do that. Yep. And just so you know, longer term, we hope to automate this checklist to a great extent. We're kind of in a manual mode right now, but I'd be happy to number it. It's a great suggestion.
Wow, that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Excellent, great. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Chris. We'll move on to 16 now. Again, feel free to use the chat to type any question you want. With that, we have January Cook and April Pay from our AEP Evaluation Committee to present and answer any questions on Criterion 16. So January, April, take it over. January, it looks like you've started screen sharing, but it's just showing a black screen.
Okay, let me try that once more.
Okay. It worked the first time.
It did. All right, are you able to see the slide now?
No.
Are you able to see the submittal?
Yep, there it is. Perfect.
Okay, so we'll just work off of this. So hello, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. So we're here today to talk to you about number 16, Cooperative Procurement Strategy. I won't sit here and read this word for word to you. Everyone has reviewed the criterion. What we want you to think about as we're going through these, we're going to show you some examples today that show different ways that you can achieve your points on this criterion. Like Christina said, I encourage everybody to get out there and look at the model submittals because there are several different examples out there. And for the purpose of this webinar today, we picked some that are shorter in length just to show you that it doesn't take several pages to achieve these items. So what you need to remember on these is your methodology, your narrative. The narrative is very important. So what we, and April, chime in here whenever you feel, I don't want to say something, but on the narrative, some of them that come in, we are really struggling other than just telling us what you're submitting and what's attached. You're not putting much information in the narrative. And so you want a narrative that identifies a methodology, your considerations and research for implementing a co-op program strategy, or something that demonstrates the continued analysis, review, or methodology for determining the proper mix of your cooperative contracting. So think about that, please, when you're putting your narrative together. And then you have to submit at least 2 separate components to demonstrate the agency's the agency's strategic approach to your use of cooperative procurement. So some of the examples of supporting documentation are formal checklist or list of questions that is used to evaluate a co-op program, the methodology of determining what contracts will be solicited by your agency or considered, serving as a lead agency on a co-op contract, attendance at training sessions or webinars. And then the documentation indicating your percentage of total annual spend utilizing co-op purchasing options. And when you do that, please pay attention to the dates that are listed for each of the supporting documentation, because if they do not meet those date parameters, unfortunately, they will not count for points. So with the first sample that I'm showing you there, City of Santa Clarita, they have a very good narrative. And they have a flow chart, which demonstrates the methodology of determining what contracts will be solicited by the agency. And then they have cooperative agreement evaluation form, which demonstrates formal checklists or lists of questions that they use to evaluate a cooperative program. So
January, we're still seeing the first page of Clayton County.
okay, let me go. So I started with Santa Clarita. I'm sorry. These controls are overlapping each other. So let me point out while we have Clayton County. So with their, and I'll scroll through their example. So they have a good narrative.
Santa Clarita is showing now, January.
Okay. I don't know why you're going back and forth. Okay. So on Santa Clarita, again, they had a very good narrative. And they had a flow chart and their cooperative agreement evaluation form. So on here, again, they submitted a long narrative. And if you'd like to take the time to read through it and look at the types of things they put in there to meet that criterion, to give us the methodology and the other things that they think are pertinent to describe their cooperative procurement strategy, please take the time to do so. Again, the model submittals, there's different examples. Some people did a longer narrative, some people did a shorter narrative. As long as it contains the information, we're able to identify those components, you'll get those points. So on this one, they included other things too, but I just wanted to concentrate on what actually is required to obtain the points. So here's their flow chart that they provided us an example. And then here's their co-op evaluation form. So this submission meets because it had a good narrative and it had 2 supporting documents. And again, there are several ways you can accomplish this. This is just an example. So this one met, it was very clear, good examples. It wasn't too lengthy, so we didn't have to search for the items of, everything was labeled very clearly. So this is one we love submittals like this that are easy to identify that they do meet all the components of the criterion. Okay. And then if I go over to Clayton County, can you see that one?
Not yet.
How about now?
Clayton County.
Okay. So on Clayton County submission, and again, it's overlapping. They had a good methodology, good narrative. They tell you which items they're including to support the supporting documentation. Okay, I'm back. I'm showing Santa Clarita. So let me go back.
Hey, January, it could be possible that instead of sharing your screen, you're sharing a window instead. And that's maybe why you're getting stuck. If you share your screen, then you can bounce back and forth between things and we'll still be able to view it.
Yeah, I'm doing the share screen.
Okay.
When you click on share screen though, and it gives you options, you could be clicking on a window and not just the screen.
Try that again. Okay. So can you see Clayton County now? Okay, thank you. So again, on theirs, they had a good narrative. It's not too long, but it has the information that we need. You have their ordinance, their SOP for cooperative purchases. An internal request form that they use. Training, which identifies the name of the person, their title, the email address, and then the webinar or training description. And we look at the dates to make sure it's within the date parameter that is set in the criterion. And these are their data on their percentage of cooperative spend. Okay, so again, another way that you can achieve your points for this criterion. So it's not limited to the items listed in the criterion, but most people gravitate towards those. If you have something else in lieu of, please include it and provide a little explanation of what it is, as long as you can show us that it meets the intent of the criterion. April, do you have anything to add?
No, I just want to reiterate how important it is to keep your submittals as clean as possible. There's a fine balance between being comprehensive and being concise. Recognize that we are reading literally hundreds of applications. And so it's important that you provide us enough detailed information to make sure that it meets the either the different methods in that criterion of achieving those points or the intent, as January said.
Excellent. Thank you, April. Thanks everyone for submitting questions and stuff. We've got a few minutes left. If there's any other questions, we can field those. January, if you would stop sharing your screen, I'll take this back over. Perfect. Thank you. One of the questions that we got, and one that we get honestly quite frequently, is on where the model submittals are located. And is everybody able to view my screen now? Okay, excellent. So on the new website, you'll notice, if you haven't been on here in a while, you'll notice that we have a brand new website design. We hope it's easier to navigate and provides more information than our old website. But in order to access the AEP model submittals, you have to be an NPI member. It's one of our member benefits. And so when you log in as an NPI member, when you hover over the members only tab, now you can see things that are only available to members, which are model submittals and job opportunities. Now, if you are not an NPI member, I would recommend that you apply and do so. A couple reasons are, again, you get the access to the AEP model submittals, the job board, and discounts at our annual conference, and we are having one this year, which is fantastic news. But also you get a $200 discount on your application fee. So you can join for $130 per year. You get the $200 discount on your AEP application. So you're already saving $70 there, along with getting all the additional benefits NPI membership. So make sure that you do. Now, again, we've got, I think we still have a few more minutes on this call, so feel free to open it up to any questions regarding the AEP program, the criteria that we covered today, or even NPI itself, if anybody has any questions. I like Jagdeep's icon, Minecraft. All right, well, I guess that's all. Again, feel free to email me directly at aep@npiconnection.org with any questions. You can reach out to any of our committee members as well. Remember, May 15th is the deadline this year. It is a Saturday, but we wanted to maintain consistency, setting last year aside with the May 15th deadline. So if you calendar it for maybe the 14th on Friday, so you don't miss the application deadline. We want to make sure that we have your application to review. Again, thank you all. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, NPP Gov. Thank you to our other sponsor, Nagometrics. Join us again 2 weeks, I think. It's either 2 weeks or 1 week, I can't remember, for our fifth one, and on the fifth educational series. What I'll be doing is I'll just go over some closing remarks, closing questions, and on how to, it's actually next week on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So we'll do that then. See y'all, take care, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.